Hey guys, this is TheKillerNacho again. Sorry for the lack of videos. I was on vacation last week, and now I'm back to school, college for my last semester. And this is a battle I had actually a while ago with my real-life friend Guillermo, otherwise known as Peppercat. I have battled him in the past. He's just getting into Gen 5, and to help him into Gen 5, he wanted to use my save file, so he has an R4 too, so we just kind of transferred the save file. But this battle is kind of interesting because he's been playing around with my save file a lot before this, and he has all of the same Pokemon I do, so you might notice that his Pokemon are also mine. I've used them in several battles in the past, and it's very interesting because both of us know what each other is going to do, and that makes this a very interesting battle. Anyway, so I lead with Ryuk because I noticed he had Mew in the team, and I really didn't have a dedicated lead on this team that I made. So I decided to go into Ryuk to hopefully scare him away because he would lead with Mew. I go for the sub, he goes for the psychic, that sucks. And unfortunately for me, that Mew comes out on top, so that was pretty fail on my part. Ryuk does not because I know my Mew is a freaking, bulky Mew, and I didn't realize quite how bulky. It takes the Shadow Ball pretty nicely. Anyway, so I got into Durendal. I did get a special defense drop, so I was hoping just to revenge kill it, but he makes a good play, switches out into his Tyranitar, and I'm just going to go for a Reflect, figuring he's either going to try to do Crunch to do damage or go for a Dragon Dance. Either way, I want to Reflect up, because a Dragon Dance really isn't so scary once I have a Reflect up, and a Crunch won't do a whole lot after the Reflect either, at least unboosted, and I should be able to stall it for a little while. But anyway, he does go for a Dragon Dance, and obviously I can't let him get too many free Dragon Dances. I go out in a Skywalker, knowing I resist both Stone Edge and Crunch, X4, and I know I do have a Thunder Punch also on this Tyranitar, because it's my Fluffy. Look how fluffy it is. But either way, he has a +2 attack, but I do have my Reflect up, so I decided just to go for a Swords Dance, and I got greedy and went for the Swords Dance, thinking he'd switch, but he does not. He stays in and goes Thunder Punch, so that was pretty bad for me. He's not going to get a 2-hit KO, and I am going to be able to KO him this turn with Close Combat, but I think I got a little greedy there. I should have just probably killed him with Close Combat, because now, especially since this is a Life-Orbed Lucario, it basically can't do anything else. I am able to take down the Tyranitar, which is good, because that thing would have been a major problem for me if I didn't take it out. But at the same time, yeah, I'm going to die to one more Life Orb recoil. He goes out into Zapdos. I'm just going to go for an Extreme Speed, because I can't kind of remember. I wasn't at my computer at the time, so I couldn't check, my EVs and stuff, so I'm like, I forget if I outspeed Thor or not with my Skywalker. So I decided just to go for the Extreme Speed, because that's a safe play. It does a lot of damage to Zapdos, and, yeah, I died of my recoil. Either way, he decides to not go Roost, which is great for me. Instead, he tries to go for a Thunder Wave, maybe predicting a switch. And I go out into my Latias now, just going for a Dragon Pulse to revenge kill. And at this point, I realize that my Latias is a pretty... at this point, without Tyranitar, he really has nothing good to fight my Latias with. So that is really good for me. Latias is going to be a major part of me winning this battle, at least I think so. So anyway, I go for a Reflect. He goes out into Saber, which I know is my Choice Band Arcanine. He goes for a Wild Charge, and I have no idea why he did that. Maybe it was a misclick. Maybe he didn't know what Wild Charge was, and then again, maybe he was predicting something, but I'd have no idea what he would possibly be predicting. But either way, he goes for Wild Charge. I know he's locked into it. I decided to go out in my Swampert since I am immune. And he switches too, figuring he doesn't want to stay in against Latias, obviously. He goes out in a Neptuna, which is my Vaporeon, and this is not a great matchup for me, but I want to take this time right now to set up my rocks. I mean, he's had Stealth Rocks up the entire match due to his Mew, and Stealth Rocks is starting to get really annoying, so at least I can get his his side Stealth Rocky as well. That's what Sal does anyway, he just throws rocks at people. He's going to go for a Scald, and he goes Scald like 4 or 5 times, and he doesn't get a burn. I'm sorry, spoilage, but whatever. Yeah, so he keeps going Scald. I go into my Neodium, and, yeah, it's a electric type. I thought he'd bring Ferrothorn, because, he's pretty OU and stuff, and he was mentioning before the battle how good Ferrothorn is, so I decided, I'm going to bring my Neodium, my Magnezone, which is like a perfect counter to freaking Ferrothorn. But he doesn't actually bring it, which sucks, but, at least it'll do okay against Vaporeon. I go for a sub, because I was hoping that he'd switch. I was kind of figuring he'd switch, because why would you leave a freaking Vaporeon in on a Thunderbolt? But I don't know. He just apparently predicts my substitute or something, keeps going for the Scald, and I know he can take one Thunderbolt, but I just kind of have to go for it, because at this point, I don't think he can kill him with Scald, and it is a 2-hit KO. So I'm just going to do that. I go for the Thunderbolt. It does a lot to Vaporeon, but does not KO because Vaporeon is a bulky piece of crap. And he goes for the Scald and does not kill, and thankfully does not get the burn. It's funny because almost in every other battle, every time either my opponent uses Scald or I use Scald, it always gets a burn. But in this battle, like, I think we both used it several times, and it never gets a burn, so I don't know. Oh well, I just go for a Thunderbolt. It's dead now, that stupid Vaporeon, and unfortunately for me, my Mag Zone is pretty weak. Yeah. So he goes out into Puff the Magic Dragon. I'm like, F this, because I know he's going to Dragon Dance, and after that, my Latias won't be able to outspeed, and now I'm really, really afraid. I go for a Thunderbolt because I just want to get damage. I know he had Marvel Scale, but he doesn't go for the Roost, and that's kind of nice. But at this point, I kind of figured he'd go for the Roost. So I'm just going to switch because I can't really afford to let this thing set up anymore. He ends up actually trying to kill my Mag Zone, which I wasn't predicting, but it ended up being okay anyway since I went out into Sal, who is like my physicalist wall I have on this team. And he's going to go Fire Punch, and that's not very effective. So that's pretty nice. Good job, Sal, taking that Dragonite, a Fire Punch. But yeah, my Puff is really annoying. And this is one of like the most annoying battles I think I've ever had, because it's like I make my Pokemon EV spreads and because I like them. And to have them used against me is so freaking annoying. Eventually he's going to make his own Pokemon with Pokesav, I'm sure, but at this point I'm pretty annoyed. I go for an Ice Beam, he goes for a Roost. It's still super effective, but he still ends up gaining health on that. But the main thing is here, he is faster, so he'll never really get the Marvel Scale boost, and an X4 effective Ice Beam is still going to destroy him, so anytime he decides to either go Dragon Claw or another Dragon Dance, it's really going to cost him the Dragonite. So that's really good for me. He decides just to go for the Dragon Claw to get damage, and that's the best thing he could really do, except maybe save Dragonite for later. But either way, that's pretty nice. So he goes out into Mew. I was kind of hoping... I mean, I knew I wouldn't outspeed because Swampert's also really slow, but I was kind of hoping he wouldn't Soft Boil, but why wouldn't he, really? I just go for a Scald, don't get the burn, which would have been nice because of the residual damage, but yeah, like I said, Scald doesn't really want to do a burn in this battle, it seems. Whatever, so I have to switch out now. I don't really know what he's going to do. He's either going to go for a Psychic, which my Magnezone at the very least resists, or he's probably going to go Soft Boiled again. He ends up going Soft Boiled again, so now I have to deal with a freaking full HP Mew. And, as you know from my past battles, if you watch my videos at all, this Mew is freaking bulky as crap and is like epic in every way. And it's my own Mew is just going to turn against me and be really annoying right now. Oh well, so he's going to go for a Psychic, trying to KO my Neodium, and I go for a Sub, and I have no idea why. I don't think for some reason I thought I might outspeed, but that's stupid. Even with my Mew not having a lot of speed, and I don't even know if I had enough for a Sub anyway. I might have, I don't know, but I don't know what I was thinking at all, because this battle was a while ago, and like, why did I go Sub there? I have no idea. That was a stupid misplay on my part. He goes for a Psychic, the KO is my Mag Zone, and that is life. So here, I also make a misplay. I think I go out into my Rudolph. I don't know why, really, honestly. This is my Conkeldurr. For some reason, I thought that, I don't know. My Mew is so physically bulky, but I still think, you know, paybacks don't do a lot because Conkeldurr has like a monster amount of attack, and he hit me with Psychic this turn, so it's like, it does half damage because that's how bulky my Mew is. Yep, that physical defense. It's physically bulky, and it's beast mode. Anyway, so he's going to go for the Soft Boiled, and I'm just going to continue going for the Payback. And actually, both of us were surprised here. Both of us were under the impression that Payback, in order to get the boost, you had to actually do damage to the foe, and I thought that was the way it was too. But then I do this about the same amount of damage this time with Payback as I did the first time. I'm like, what the heck? He didn't go with Psychic. And I checked, and Payback is actually a move that you just have to go second. You don't actually have to be hit by anything for Payback to get the boost. You just have to go second, and that's weird. I mean, I know there's a move that you have to be hit in order to get the bonus damage, but I don't remember which one. I thought it was Payback, but I guess I'm wrong. Whatever, he's going to go for Soft Boiled again. I just go for Payback again, and that's kind of silly on his part since, you know, that's he's just kind of like tempting the crit. I mean, you know he's not really going to get health back at all. In fact, I think I'm actually doing slightly more than he's gaining with Soft Boiled, so that's good news for me at least, and that kind of forced him to kill me. And then I can go into the guy who I should have went to anyway, this point, this Mew can do absolutely nothing to my Latias. In fact, I think the only thing it can really do is burn me, but it doesn't really hurt Latias, because Latias is special, and the only thing it really will do is residual damage. I mean, I have Calm Mind and Outspeed, and I resist his only attacking move, which is Psychic, so I really should have went into this guy in the first place, but for some reason I hate Conkeldurr, and I just wanted to die. Maybe that is what I'm going to say. That's my, That's my fallback. So I actually meant to have Conkeldor die because he's so ridiculous looking. I hate him. Yeah. That makes me feel better anyway. Anyway, so yeah, he is going to burn my Durendal, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's residual damage, but I do have Recover on this guy, and now after a Calm Mind, I know Psychic will do nothing, and I'm kind of confident I can KO with Dragon Pulse, and I do, which is awesome. And his last Pokemon is the Choice Banded Arcanine, and I know it does have Extreme Speed, but this is pretty bulky. Latias is bulky just by definition, so I'm pretty sure I can take even a Choice Banded Extreme Speed at this point. He goes for the Intimidate, obviously, but that does nothing. So my attack is like non-existent at this point, but not that it matters. And he is going to go for an Extreme Speed. It does not KO, and a Calm-Minded Dragon Pulse will. So that was a great game, Peppercat. Even though you used my Pokemons, but you definitely he still has a skill from Gen 4. He's probably only going to get better for Gen 5. I think we both made some pretty silly misplays in that battle, but you know that's part of the fun. And I really don't actually remember what either of us were thinking at the time, since it was a while ago. Actually, he wanted to narrate this battle with me, but I'm in Pennsylvania now, so yeah, that's not going to happen. Sorry, Guillermo. That sucks for you. So yeah, like I mentioned, I am back at school. I am back in Pennsylvania. I am 2.5 hours away from New Jersey, which is nice. Because, yeah, that hurricane was like, vroom, vroom, vroom. Man, Hurricane Irene. I actually lost power for 13 hours. That really sucks. Anyway, so my question of the day is, did you get affected by Hurricane Irene? If so, tell me about your experience. I mean, I didn't think it was that bad of a storm as everyone made it out to be. I mean, there was some heavy winds, some downpour. But I lost power for 13 hours, which is weird because, you know, the house I live in New Jersey is fairly new. I mean, we've lost power a few times, but it hasn't been more than a couple minutes. So something major happened because we lost power for almost the entire night. That's kind of annoying, but it was an interesting storm anyway. I always like storms. I kind of like watched it for a little while, and then went to sleep because, yeah, I didn't have power, and that sucks. I'm like, screw this, I'm going to sleep. But anyway, so yeah, leave a question of the day. There you go. And if you haven't been through Hurricane Irene and you weren't part of that thing, leave a comment then about the worst storm you've ever been in. Yeah, and what you think about them. Do you like storms? I do. I like thunderstorms. It's very relaxing sitting on your porch watching a thunderstorm. Hurricane's a little much, but still. But anyway. So yeah, rate, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, and peace out, homies.